So for step 18, attaching the gearbox. Well, we're going to grab our gearbox that we built in the last step, and you can see that we've got some screws that are going to start attaching it on the roll cage and at the back here on that bracket. And same again, we've got a couple of screws on this side that have to go in. So you can see here, we've got this BC2, we've got the darker threaded screws, and then we've got our tapping screws. So I'll set this up and we'll put the gearbox into the chassis. So let's start at this side. Now note that you'll see here the BC2, which is the threaded screw, is different to the other side, which uses the tapping screw, the BA3. So let's grab our car here. We know that this is going to sit in like this because this metal bracket that we put on is actually attaching on either side of this roll cage. So knowing that, we know that this screw hole right here is what is being used to screw into that top part. So I think what I'll do is I'm going to grab the BC2 screw, and I'm going to grab a screwdriver here just so I can get this in, I hope. Nope. All right, I'll do it a different way. I want to make sure that that goes in. Yes. So I'm going to move that into place so that it's on either side. Because you can see it's got to sit on either side of those holes. I've just got to make sure. There we go. If I push that further out, if you can see that, because I'm basically trying to open it up, the brackets up on either side so that they will fit. And now, with that in place, I'll push that screw into the hole. There we go. You can see that it's in, and I'm just going to screw this in a little bit, just so that it's semi-attached at the moment, so that it's not going to fall out. And you can see here that this was a BA2, which again, that's the darker threaded screw, is going into the metal plate. So you can see that the metal plate, and you can see that there's a lip on the roll cage, so that's sitting on top of that metal plate, is going to fit into there and the hole. So again, let's just start screwing that in. And I want to make sure that's still sitting on the top. You can see that it is. And I'll actually screw that in a little bit. It's not all the way, but it's enough. And I can now continue to screw this one into place. Now, I'm not doing it all the way, but just enough because I want to make sure that the other side goes in too. Now you can see we've got a BA3 tapping screw that is now going to go on here, which basically is just attaching the roll cage. So for whatever reason we didn't do that before, we're now going to screw that into place. So if I turn this around, I will now screw this into place, and I'll screw the whole thing in. And again, remember, the roll cage is soft plastic, so don't over tighten. I'm just going to make sure I get to the end. Little extra turn at the end, but if I continue to turn, you will strip out the plastic because it is soft. So again, if you look here, we had the larger BC2 at the top going into the bracket. We had the BC3 or BA3 screw going into here, attaching the roll cage, and we had the BA2, which was the threaded screw, going into the back metal plate. So if we turn this around, because we can see how this was supposed to go, we're going to, let's see. Well, I guess they've done it here. Let's go back to that BA2 then, because this one here is that threaded screw, which again is now going to go into here. And again, that sits on the lip. So we're going to make sure that that just screws right into place. Once we get it into the hole. And I think I'm going to turn this over and do it this way. Okay. Now I can screw this in a little bit harder because this is going into the metal. But again, because it's a threaded, not a tapping screw, I don't want to over tighten it either. But that's fine. On both sides, that is okay. Okay, so let's get back to what I was going to show you here. We're only left with the BA3 screws now. So we know that there's one more. We're down here. Right there. We have one more that's going into the roll cage. So we're going to put that in there, make sure it goes in, and we'll screw this one all the way in. And again, make sure that you don't over tighten because you're going into the softer plastic. So I'm just doing an extra little turn. I know that it's tight, but I'm not going to go any farther. So they're on nice and tight. And now we've got that one last screw, which we know is going to be on the other side of this. So you can see where we placed the motor cables coming out of the box. I just need to move them out of the way for the moment so that I can get this screw into place. And hopefully get it in there. Okay. I just want to make sure that that is correct. Yes. So we'll take that and we'll screw this all the way in. Now this is going from hard plastic to hard plastic, so when it grabs, you'll know. There we go. And I'm just going to do a final screw in on this side. There. There we go. So there we have our gearbox installed. The roll cage is now nicely attached. The two screws are nicely attached to this, the metal plate, and we've got our two screws at the top. And this, you know, obviously because of the rubber band, there it's moved out of the way. It doesn't matter about those covering the screw at this point because we shouldn't be taking that apart again anyway. So that means our gearbox is attached. So step 18 is complete. So now we're going to move on to step 19 and work on the rear axles.